Welcome back to the village. I'm starting up over this end again just so you can have a look at the change to the fountain. I've replaced the fences with cobblestone walls and also replaced the floor that was patchy dirt and grass with just plain cobblestone. Personally, I think it looks a lot better, but if you have an opinion on that, please feel free to comment, as that's still up to change. The fences are still stored up here just in case I decide to change them back, and I'm also debating on whether or not the blocks under the fences should also be under the walls should also be cobblestone to match the flooring there, or if they should be the grass here. So please let me know what you think on that, and I'll make changes according to what the popular vote is. I did let a villager through this earlier, but he was more interested in going back to his friends than crossing the bridge, so I'm probably going to have to find some better way to ferry them over to this end of the village. But I've completed the fences along the bridge now, so everything should be completely safe. I've increased the fencing round the bench so that they don't use that to walk off the edge, and I've made a bridge here that crosses to the new section of housing. It's very similar to the other one, just with a slightly different design on how it changes height, whereas that one changed a whole block in height every time it changed. This one I've done in half steps, mainly just because I didn't want to have to go through designing that kind of shape again. There wasn't really enough space here in length to actually have that stepped change and have it look as nice as that one. And it was just a little bit of work working out how I wanted the distance to be done, because the height here is actually different on each end, so the middle's actually not central. I've put in the gravel path now. This here is only 1 block thick, so I've just put the wood there instead of trying to put the gravel there, as it looked really stupid underneath. And I've gone and fixed all the doors so that now they have a pressure plate, so once you've walked in it's shut and you can get out easily, and they're all on top of cobble. Those are the only changes I've made off camera. I was planning to do the decorating on camera. Oh yes, I placed one flower. I somehow had it in my inventory, so I placed it. I've brought some vines along because I want to place them on the outside of the buildings where you can't actually reach, to sort of look like it's where they can't quite clean the sides of the buildings. Yet again, it's just another touch that I want to add that serves absolutely no purpose and will only feature on the areas of the buildings that are harder to reach. Oh, this one needs one as well, I think. Not sure. Can you get behind that? I think you might be able to. Actually, no, I don't think you can, so yeah. Need one there. Just temporarily make a little way up. Oops, that's not going to work, is it? There we go. A little bit of a garden area, but no one can actually reach it. I sort of feel like I should add an ability to get out here for these two houses, but then they'd be sharing, and oops, didn't want that one. Then that wouldn't be quite so good. There we go. Let's just pearl over. Been doing quite a lot of silly moves with the pearls today. I keep trying to teleport and teleporting myself into the walls and then hitting the floor. Fortunately, these boots do actually do their job quite well, so I just have to keep an eye on the durability and try to remember to replace them when that's getting a bit too low. And that should just break up the wall of brown that you can see from the outside. Now I've made beds for them already. I've gone round gathering some flowers as well. The red ones come from the iron farm, which we don't really have a use for this many flowers, so most of the time they just end up stored in chests. So I went and raided my chest and brought a lot of them over, and then went running around in the fields to look for the yellow ones. Most houses in the village seem to like having the red ones outside, whereas the yellow ones tend to serve more as wildflowers, but it makes the area look a bit nicer, and so just breaks up the rather plain grass. I'm not quite a fan of the colour of the grass in this biome. I find it rather annoying, but that's something that I just have to deal with. I kind of wish there was a way you could sort of fertilise grass with bad fertilizers like weed killer if you wanted it to turn more deserty, and rich fertilizers if you wanted to make it turn more lush. That's something I'd love to see in the game, so that especially when you're doing big projects that span multiple biomes, you can have a uniform grass across them, or that the grass was like leaves and biome specific. Unfortunately, I know that would be far too complicated to do, so won't actually be implemented, but I really do wish it would be, because I'm really not a fan of this current colour here, really, and the desert sand is just appalling. When you're working underground and accidentally end up with some desert biome in your project, it's really not nice at all. Alright, let's give you yellow outside your door, and you can be another dual coloured one. Oops. So I think we're first going to put the beds in. Seems to be the best plan for the houses. Get the sleeping accommodation sorted, and then worry about how they're actually going to arrange any other furniture at another time. The chests won't be in here still once I'm done. Those are only in here as a temporary measure. That's sort of, I get the feeling like they're going to set it on fire with the furnace, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Some of them I want to have more than one bed in, so representing multiple villagers living in the small space, and hopefully they will still then have space for things like a craft table over in the corner and be able to move around. Oops. I've got to learn how to do that properly. I keep messing up. I think these two, even though they're slightly bigger, are both going to be solo homes. I think actually most of them will probably end up being solo homes, just because the villagers don't actually have much in the way of options there. There's not really many people they can go out, date, get to know, so once the kids have grown up and moved on, or one of the partners has unfortunately passed on, there's not going to be any new people joining the village. I like to come up with stories for everyone in the village. It's just one of those odd little habits that I have. Let's put you in the middle as well. But some people call me strange for it. I just find it makes everything a lot more fun. Let's have that one be really silly with how he likes his stuff. I'm thinking we need more yellow flowers over here. Definitely not enough. I've got a timer set this time, so the video shouldn't overrun as long as the last one. I'm not sure if it's going to be very long or not, as what I'm doing once I've decorated I'm not entirely sure about. I want to... is that staggered? Yes. I want to have a look around up there, see if I can work out what I might build there. Again, I was debating putting another building up there, but I'm not entirely sure what I'd want. Something like a tavern of some sort is tempting, but at the same time, this is the church and the hospital. It's kind of a bit weird if I then have it moving on to the tavern. So for the moment, I'm just going to be leaving that blank, and hopefully I'll get an idea soon. If anyone wants to give me an idea, then I'll probably name it after them, as with the other buildings in the area. And so please let me know if you have any suggestions on that end. Oops, I need more red over here. Not liking the balance of the colours in here at the moment. Try and get those sorted. I also don't want any of the vines to be in the middle. That's just sort of against why I've put vines on the outside. They're purely there as if people haven't managed to get behind to scrub. And I've been up on the overhang. I made a thumbnail for this series of videos. I actually took it in single player. I downloaded this section of the world and was flying in the sky about there. Took a lovely picture over the main village. I also took some pictures that featured the entire village, but then the ones that were facing that way I think I settled on, as that's the busiest part of the village. Unfortunately, because I'm not a YouTube partner, YouTube won't let me have any custom thumbnails, and I'm not willing at this stage to become a partner and have adverts on these videos, unless YouTube's already deciding to put adverts on, but I've tried to make sure they stay advert free, because personally I don't think that attempting to gain a revenue from something which at the moment is nothing but an incredibly casual hobby, and in my opinion not very well executed, I don't think it's fair to make people sit and watch adverts just to watch these videos. Maybe if I get better at what I'm doing, then I might start to include them, but definitely not for the moment. Now, I think all of them are going to have a craft table, but definitely not all of them having a furnace. Maybe some of them are vegetarian and eat it all raw. I know I quite like things raw. I'd actually eat nearly everything raw if I could. I'm a big fan of raw fish. Absolutely love that. Unfortunately in England it's very hard to get fish that you can guarantee is fresh enough to be eaten raw, which I hate that. Really, I find kind of depressing in a way, because I went on holiday to Japan with my sixth form, got to try all the amazing food over there, got to taste all the different fish and things in their proper raw forms, and I just love the texture and the flavour, but unfortunately I don't have a fishmonger's near me and I'm nowhere near the sea, so I can't get in any really fresh fish in order to guarantee that it's safe. Beef in this country, absolutely fine to eat raw. Unfortunately most people frown upon me doing that, and no one's really willing to join me in eating anything like that. That, and I can't actually afford to eat beef all the time. Chicken's not the safest thing to eat raw, and pork's not safe to eat raw, so annoyingly few options in that sense. But I eat a lot of vegetables raw, and I haven't got anything in here. Even when I'm cooking, like stir fries and things, I tend to leave an awful lot of raw. Nope, they're going to be warmed by the fact there's two of them living here. I tend to try and just cook the meat to get the flavour that I'm after, add the spices, warm through the vegetables, but then take it all off the heat before any of it actually cooks. I wish I could remember how you make pots. I kind of feel like someone should have a plant pot in their house, but I can't remember quite how you do that. I also want to put a couple of mushrooms in that unfriendly villager's house. See what he thinks to that. So let's just have a look through all the houses, see if anything jumps out as what we want to do. I'm also thinking that I should put item frames in here, but that's something I will do off camera. I quite like this. I'm also thinking bookcases, but I haven't even got round to doing all the bookcases for my own home, so those will be a little while coming. I just am not getting round to harvesting all the sugarcane, even though there's plenty under the bookstore. I can't remember if I've shown that on video or not. I'll have to look back on the tour. If I have, then I'll not show it again. If I haven't, then I will... Oops, I've messed that one up. There we go. Then I will actually make sure to come back and show that. I'm not sure if I want that facing the other way. Yeah, I think that's better. So I'm going to put, I think, some paintings up in here. I think a nice picture of Monty will go there. I don't know if I've shown you a picture of Monty at all. If I head to the Nether Stronghold in a bit, I'll be able to show you it. So I think that's most of what I'm going to be doing actually over on this end of the village, other than getting the villagers in. I've also been looking at ways to light the area without all these torches everywhere, because while I don't mind, I kind of want to have street lights, but I would then have to have a combination of both, as the street lights otherwise would end up being places like here in the middle of nowhere, serving no apparent purpose, whereas at least here they make sense, because there isn't a light strong enough for what I want. I really wish actually Minecraft had a stronger light. That would make me a lot happier. There's a lot of projects I want to do that require a much better light source that covers a wider area. I really like the wrath lamps in the Feed the Beast game for that, but unfortunately they work by putting sort of imaginary, or invisible I think is more accurate, blocks in the air, so that where the entire area they're covering, you can't do things like grow trees, and some items don't work. I don't think beacons work correctly around them, and there's just a lot of things that don't work because they expect to see clear blocks but there aren't any. Oh yes, this guy's tucked himself away in the corner against the wall with something next to him. That's actually how I keep my bed at home. I love being enclosed in the bed. I kind of want a bed that actually has proper sides, mainly because I have an awful habit of rolling over and falling out of bed. Not sure why. I've got a double bed and I still manage to roll around enough to fall out of it. I can sleep in a single bed and a double bed absolutely fine, and then suddenly I'll find one day I wake up and I'm on the floor, dragged my pillows down with me, normally without the duvet, so I generally wake up absolutely frozen. But it's just, for some reason, I can't stay in the bed. And so I have my bed against the wall, but then next to my bed I have a cabinet, and I put an extra pillow or two down the side, so that if I try and roll over I hit that barrier and can't actually get much further. It stops probably 99% of the times I fall out of bed, so it's quite effective, but it does look a bit strange when I've got friends over and my bed is tucked away. I want to actually build a bed that has... do I have enough blocks to show it on me? Let me get some dirt and I'll show what I mean quickly, or just dig it in the ground quickly. So you'd have a raised... you'd have like the bed in the middle. Oops, I completely forgot I had my infinite spring under here. I was using this when messing around with the fountain. I thought it had actually been filled in when it got covered up, and I also thought it was further over there. Not sure why, unless I've got two of them down here. But basically it would be... oops. Oh, I'm not very good at this. A raised edge, and then the bed in the middle on all sides, so you'd have to climb into it, but then at least it wouldn't have any risk of me managing to roll out. I also think I'd use the edges as a sort of shelf, have things like the current book I'm reading, or the alarm clock, things like that in there. I think that would be quite fun, and just actually quite practical for the way I am. But unfortunately I have neither the skills nor the space to work on such an idea, and it wouldn't really be practical to then try and move that into my room at the moment, as I'd have nowhere to store the old bed. I'm also at the moment alternating between a single memory foam mattress and my normal double mattress. I've got problems with my back, which are why I have the memory foam. I was able to get it on sale actually a couple of years ago, which was quite fortunate. Now I'm just going to take you over to the fortress, the stronghold, sorry, to show you Monty. He will appear around the village once I make some more pictures, but this was only planned to be a quick episode, decorating and having a little bit of a chat, making sure that the sounds are working. I'm trying to tweak them to make the keyboard and mouse less obvious, and also just to avoid the clicking that seems to come when I'm talking. Hopefully I can get it sorted, but unfortunately I can't change the distance between any of the involved components. The keyboard can't get any further away, the microphone is on a headset, so is actually right next to my mouth, so I can't change that. And so I'm just seeing if I can change the sound balances in order to help with that, as it's annoying me watching my videos back. So I'm hoping that I can solve it. Just nearly threw my pick away there. And then improve the sound quality of these videos. This is what the picture we use for Monty. There's various symbols to him all over the server. I might actually, if I can remember where various shrines and things are, do a little server tour of the shrines of Monty, sort of like a pilgrimage. There's also some of our members, I can't quite remember who was doing it in the last Ultra Hardcore, that make a shrine to Monty in various competitive maps. Takes a bit of time out, builds the shrine, and then gets on with the map again. It's one of those odd little things that just adds to the fun, rather like our mail service which we have. It serves no major purpose, but is a great thing to send and receive mail. It's just something quite nice to come back to your village and find that someone's decided to send you something, or if you want to send someone else something, to do that. That's done by Autumn Fairy on the server. The post office is in the spawn town and currently has a Christmas tree on top of it and I think it's called a menorah, I'm not 100% there, next to it, that are left over from Christmas. None of us really want to be the one to take it down, although I have decided that if we at least take it down and take the decorations off it, then it's technically just a tree and no longer associated with Christmas, so it can stay up all year without problem. So I'm going to hover around here, get some experience up, and hopefully enchant a pick with fortune. So I'll start the next episode with that, but I'm just going to sign off now, and then next episode will either be working on the sheep farm, or if I've come up with what to fill that extra space in the village, I'll be building that. So I will see you then. Bye.